Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. This land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
You want a sports degree that is beyond the game? A degree that immerses you from day one and launches you into the business side of sports. With a sports management major from IUPUI's School of Health and Human Sciences, you'll have insider access to sports professionals and will learn from faculty with years of teaching and industry experience. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to launch your sport industry career.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry-out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Mortgage Group. I've been teaching here at Guerin Catholic for 13 years. I've been assistant coach also for 13 years. And I think it's important in today's world that we have young people growing up with the morals and values of faith-based education.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Thompson with Integrity Mortgage Group, and I support Guerin Catholic High School because I'm good friends and business partners with assistant coach Tommy Mascari, and any chance I have to support a Christ-centered education for today's youth, I take advantage of that opportunity and support in any way I can with my time, effort, volunteering, funds, and commercials like these.
Together we soar.
Guerin Catholic Sports on IndianaSRN,
where you're always in the game.
From Bishop Chatard High School, just off of Kessler and Keystone Avenue on the north side of Indianapolis, welcome to intercity basketball action, boys basketball action, between the George Washington Continentals and the Bishop Chatard Trojans. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. Bertner Electric, your licensed and experienced electrician serving Central Indiana. IUPUI Sports Management, a lifetime of sports with a winning degree. Piper Logistics, 3 services, 1 solution. And by Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown farm equipment dealer. Nothing runs like a deer. From inside Bishop Chatard High School, alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. Jarrett, good to be with you here this evening as we see 2 teams getting set for another kind of season-setting matchup here this evening. You have the Washington Continentals coming into this one on a hot streak here to start the season. They are 3-0 with wins over Calumet, Providence Cristo Rey, and Irvington Prep Academy. Meanwhile, you have Bishop Chatard. Well, they don't exactly have a gauge yet. This is their season opener tonight.
It is weird to see a team starting off their season this late in the year. A lot of teams around the state, you know, with like George Washington is 3 games under their belt. Some teams with as many as 4 or 5. So teams have really had a couple of weeks of games so far. But Bishop Chatard, this is their season opener, and a good spot to have your season opener be at home, I guess, with a team that is really hot to start off the season, like you said, Kurt, in George Washington. Their closest game this season is a 17-point victory over Calumet to start the season. So this team is really coming in hot, and 3 guys on this roster for the Continentals that are averaging 14 points or more. A team that, I mean, really, you don't see that a lot in Indiana high school basketball. You have a 3-headed monster, guys that can score as much as the 3 that we will talk about for George Washington.
Meanwhile, for Bishop Chatard, they are under new head coach Kenny Roseman, who is in his first year as the head coach of Chatard. He has a 7-year career, though, as a high school basketball coach. His record is 58-71, but that name may sound familiar for some of the Washington fans watching tonight's broadcast because, well, Kenny Roseman spent a few seasons as the head coach of the Continentals before moving on to take the job here at Chatard. But needless to say, to have a little bit of familiarity between these 2 coaches here, as you have Aaron Hogg now in his 2nd season as the head coach of the Continentals.
Yeah, both coaches in their early years of coaching, and for Roseman, it's his first year at Bishop Chatard. Spent 2 seasons at Indianapolis, Washington with a 20-22 record. That was from 2018 to 2020, so very recent. It's not like he was coaching there a long time ago. He was just there a year ago with these Continentals. And another Roseman that we'll mention tonight is A.J. Roseman, a senior for Bishop Chatard, right now leading the team in scoring, or actually from last year. He's the leading returning scorer from last year at 10 points a game. So haven't played a game yet this season. A lot to learn about. Going to find out what exactly the identity of this Bishop Chatard team is. They're losing 30 points a game from their scores from last year. Nick Carter graduated at 12 points a game. He was their leading scorer. So this isn't really a team that scores the basketball a lot in Bishop Chatard. Your leading scorer that graduates, like we just said, only 12 points a game. So going to have a lot of shoes to fill and try to kind of go over that point mark they set last year, averaging at 57 points a game.
We'll take a quick timeout here. This broadcast is copyrighted by IndianaSRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association for the private use of our audience. The use of pictures, video, and audio without the expressed written permission of the IHSAA is prohibited. Back in a minute for the pregame show here on IndianaSRN.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. This land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a deer. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at ReynoldsFarmEquipment.com.
Welcome back to Bishop Chatard High School here as the Trojans get set to take on the Continentals of Indianapolis, George Washington High School. Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. And Jarrett, you were talking about before we took our break there about how Bishop Chatard graduates a lot of their scoring, but you also talked about how they didn't exactly have a lot of scoring to begin with. They only averaged 57 points a contest to match only get 57 points given up. So literally 50-50 basketball on both sides of the ball here for this Chatard team. They finished the season last year 8-13 under previous head coach Taylor Ware. So needless to say, it's kind of a fresh start literally from the ground up tonight for the Trojans.
And being on your home court, that really helps out too. You play a team that you're familiar with in George Washington. These two teams battled it out last year around this time of year, and Bishop Chatard ended up winning 54-44 in that game. They really owned this series with George Washington at 18-5. So you're playing a familiar opponent, a good way to start your season with a couple of guys that you may know. But going back to the scoring, like you mentioned, they really just don't have the one guy. It's really a full team effort. It's who's end up going to having the basketball in the right spot to score it. They had, I believe, 10 guys on the roster last year that averaged a bucket a game. So it's not very much, obviously, but they still have so many guys that are going to come off the bench. It's a really deep roster for Bishop Chatard, and it really is a full team effort. All 5 guys on the floor are going to score. They really don't have that one stud that's going to go and get you a bucket.
The Washington Continentals, on the other hand, if there's one thing that they certainly do not have a lack of, it is size. You have players like Latravion Enright, who is going to be their starting forward tonight at 6'5". But coming off of the bench, you have a player like sophomore Clem Butler, who is 6'10", the only listed center on this roster. He'll be coming off the bench tonight. But also you have the athleticism as well in Eric Hickenbottom, who is one of the players to watch in the Indy Star from writer Kyle Nedenrip. He's one of the players that are one of the really talented players in the greater Indianapolis area that you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on.
20 points a game, 3.5 assists also for the senior. But like we said, we opened up this broadcast, 3 guys that score 14 or more. You had Travis Balance in there, who's also a senior at 14 points, and Amon Burns is averaging 18 along with 4.5 assists. Another statistic that really kind of jumped out of the page at us was the amount of steals that this Washington team gets. We love talking about offense. They average 70 points a game while only giving up 45 to their opponents. And that mark is especially because of their defense. Their hands are always active. They are averaging 14 steals a ball game. So this Continentals team, to start off the season, 3 games into this 2021 campaign, really doing it well on both sides of the floor.
The Continentals playing out of the Greater Indianapolis Conference, featuring a plethora of IPS and other charter school teams as well. Right now, Crystal House Manual is leading that with a 2-0 record so far to start the season. And then you have Chatard out of the Circle City Conference, again looking for their first win, either in conference play or in regular season play this season. We'll take a quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. The starting lineups and the tip-off coming up next on IndianaSRN.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless.
What's the number one misconception you think about Freemasonry?
Well, I think most people just think of Freemasonry as some kind of secret society, and you go with some of the rumors out there and so on, and they really don't understand who we are. They don't understand that we are a fraternity of brothers first, and our obligation is to take care of each other and our widows and orphans, etc., within our group. They don't understand what the fraternity part of Freemasonry really is, and that's the misconception that's out there. I think first and foremost of anyone that wants to join Freemasonry, I'd like them to know that it's really not a secret society. You may say it's a society with a secret because we have some handshakes and some passwords that you could easily find down in a library if you get the right book. Freemasonry is more, it's a brotherhood, it's a fraternity, it's a way of sharing common thoughts and everything with people of all different vocations that really understand of getting together on the level. Whether you're a judge or a police officer or a janitor, you're all on the same level when you're in a Masonic lodge room. And I think that's one of the greatest things, that you can sit with people of all vocations, but you have that certain thing in common, that you're all brothers.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Getting introduced to the starting lineups tonight here on IndianaSRN as the Bishop Chatard Trojans playing host to the Continentals of Washington High School here out of Indianapolis. Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. Jarrett, as we get introduced to tonight's ball clubs here this evening, obviously we've broken down what some of the strengths are between these two teams. What are the keys for these teams to be successful here this evening?
Going back to the strengths was the size of George Washington. That is definitely going to play into their favor. You see a couple of taller guys that are going to be starting on the bench for Bishop Chatard. So Chatard really going out with a five-guard look, guys that bring a lot of athleticism and speed too. So it's a pretty evened-up matchup between the guards you can see, and I expect Coach Roseman to give out a nice game plan for the Trojans, and it really helps out seeing Washington already with 3 games played this year, so they kind of can use that to their advantage in scouting them and kind of creating a scouting report on how to handle these guys. And for George Washington, probably pick up the pace a little bit, try to go up and down. Fast break points are always nice. Their steals, like we mentioned, 14 a game. Try to get more of those. Defense leading to offense can really help out Washington get out here with another win and stay undefeated.
The first game of the season and the first game of the tenure under Kenny Roseman for the Trojans here this evening. Meanwhile, Aaron Hogg beginning his second year as the head coach of the Continentals. We're set to go here for the season opener for the Trojans. Just getting a few housekeeping procedures are the officials, and we're just about underway here as you have Ford facing Holder at center court between these two ball clubs, and we're underway. It is controlled by the Trojans.
Starting off in man defense are the Continentals.
And they give it right to the athlete there in Ford, and then going right for a steal is Hickenbottom. You're going to be seeing him all over the court, but there is a 3-ball to start things off from TJ Alexander of the Trojans.
Missed opportunity on the steal from Washington, so that definitely leaves the guy open. If you're Bishop Chatard, you find that guy, and it was Alexander on the left wing to get things started.
So now we see Washington on offense for the first time tonight, and there's Hickenbottom who gets his pocket picked. And using the speed are the Trojans. Right down the other side is A.J. Roseman.
How about this start from Bishop Chatard? Doesn't look like this is their first game of the season. Getting a wide open 3 first possession, and then defense, they started things off with a steal.
Then trying to feed it inside there to Holder. There are the Continentals, and it goes out of play. Of course, you mentioned that. Doesn't look like their start. We'll keep in mind they haven't played 3 games yet. They're still really fresh here coming out of practice on the offseason.
2 turnovers is going to force George Washington to now bring in this 3-quarter court press,
which the Trojans handle easily, and going right to the rim there is Ford, and he's going to be fouled out there, as LaTravion Enright will likely be picking up his first foul of the ball game. But it's good to see Enright helping Ford up off of the floor right there. And it's going to be the first time we'll see free throws this evening.
Great drive there by TJ Ford. That's going to be a really interesting matchup. He's going to start things off with Enright on him, who you can see is a much bigger body. We're in number 5. And so we'll see just how exactly Ford opts to attack him, if he opts to kind of extend things out and shoot the ball a little bit more, or if you go after him like he just did and draw some fouls on the big fella.
Now, free throw shooting was not the strength of this team a year ago. They averaged 71% on the season, and as you see right there, Ford, it goes 0 for 2 in the Trojans' first trip to the foul stripe. Back on offense here are the Continentals, as you see Bridges working it over to Hickenbottom. Again, Hickenbottom averaging 20 points a contest. He was a transfer from Emmerich Manual, for which is where Coach Aaron Hogg coached previously before taking this job here at Washington. And right there is Holder with the putback off the rebound.
Got to finish the possession. If you're Bishop Chatard, you get a missed shot. Got to box out Holder. Holder leads the team in rebounds this year with 9 a game.
Trying to get the backdoor cut underneath. Some good ball movement here from the Trojans, as going right to the rim is Williams, and he's going to get called for the offensive foul. Good footwork there by Eric Hickenbottom to draw the charge.
Yeah, great job of Hickenbottom stepping over. 2 guys came out and hedged at Williams, and he split the defense, split both of the guys. But Hickenbottom's there on the help side to step in and take the charge.
So 1 foul apiece here for each team. And now you see Chatard getting into a full court press. Kind of loose here as they'll let them go by. And Davidson gets his pass dumped out of bounds there by St. John. And Carter St. John, the quarterback for Chatard's football team, an excellent athlete in his own right.
Yeah, I thought that name sounded familiar.
Led the Chatard Trojans to a state championship a year ago. And there's the size advantage of Latravion Wright going right down the lane.
And Enright took that from the three-point line. Took it from that right wing. Nice move by number 50.
And another 3 ball on the way from Alexander. This time he's off the mark. 1 for 2 in that regard so far here through the first quarter. Back on the other side, Burns. And he's going to get hacked across the arm right there by Williams.
You see Burns there. You can tell in his mannerisms when he gets the basketball, he's real smart with it. It looks like he can shoot it, so if you're Bishop Chatard, you got to close out on him properly, and Burns is going to recognize just how aggressive Bishop Chatard is at getting out on him, and he saw that, opted to try and take it around his defender. He's got the speed, and nothing Bishop Chatard can do there but foul.
You're certainly starting to see both of the strategies play out here a little bit. Chatard playing a lot more quick with, of course, Washington using that size advantage down low.
Yeah, we'll see this what this box set brings. Probably cut Enright down low.
And they go up top here to Burns. Amon Burns, 19 points a game, his average so far this season through 3 games. Long pass into the corner, Hickenbottom double team, no look pass underneath to Holder, and he gets hacked underneath. And this time it'll be another foul on the floor.
Well, there's Holder being just really hard to handle for Bishop Chatard already. He's got an offensive rebound putback, and he is really active in the paint.
And there's Burns to unload a 3. That's just a little short off the front of the rim. St. John goes behind the back but loses the handle. Coming back the other way, the Continentals, Hickenbottom, and he's going to draw the foul. And no, it's going to be a charge. So that's an interesting call down low there. It looked like it may have been a little out of control, but also the defender may not have had position. Either way, they're going to get Hickenbottom with that, his first.
Yeah, I think us over here, we kind of thought it was a late slide over. Guy wasn't set defensively. But no doubt we'll see Hickenbottom try that a couple more times the rest of the night.
Alexander dumps it off to St. John. And now the Trojans just playing a little hot potato here with the ball in the forecourt. St. John trying to find the backdoor cut underneath to Wells. But the Continentals are certainly spreading the floor pretty well with their offense, so St. John takes it himself on the teardrop, and it doesn't fall.
Pretty decent possession offensively, and here's the Continentals going awfully quick.
Holder couldn't come away with it. St. John back the other way, kicking it back outside. 3 ball on the way from Roseman. That is short.
And meanwhile, Washington has gone with the 2-3 zone.
And there is a nice take by Amon Burns to get into the scorebook for the first time tonight. And this is the first lead of the night as well for the Continentals.
Real good vision offensively from Burns. There's that speed we were talking about, just thrashing right through the defense. And now Washington's going back to man, so they switched up the defense a couple of times in the early going.
Turnaround jumper from Ford over Enright, and it doesn't go. But you really see that advantage that Enright has down low because Chatard, they keep having to dump it back outside to shoot over him because he has that establishment down low in the post.
Yeah, if you're driving in there and you're Bishop Chatard, who's already put up, 4 3-point shots, that's the effect that Enright has. As long as your guards can close out properly, Enright in the lane is going to kind of shoo away a lot of the Trojans who are opting to drive in.
Halfway through this first quarter, and it has been a stalemate of a ball game when it comes to scoring. As there is the give and go there to try and pick it up for Hickenbottom. He has the double team and trying to get it off of the double team inside to Enright. Doesn't fall. Trying to get the reverse does Roseman. Kind of an awkward shot. And the Continentals are trying to take advantage of it here. Enright spin move inside by the big man. Can't get the kiss. Up-tempo ball game now, and there is a shot. It's going to be 2 shots for Roseman at the foul stripe here, as they're going to get, looks like, Hickenbottom for his second foul, and that is certainly interesting right here as you have Eric Hickenbottom picking up 2 quick fouls here in the first quarter.
Yeah, not looking good for Coach Hogg and Hickenbottom. And I'm not sure Roseman, he kind of redeems himself on this second attempt going to the rim. The first one was awkward, like you said, Kurt. If he goes up strong with it, just at least draw the foul, you know. And if you miss it, put it off the glass. You have some guys hopefully trailing behind you. But he does end up redeeming himself on the second attempt and now at the free throw line.
Now you have Wade McAllister checking into the ball game for the Chatard Trojans, maybe to try and match some of the size down low there with Enright. As the Trojans finally make a foul shot after 4 attempts. They are 1 for 4 in that regard. Again, foul shooting was certainly an issue with this team a year ago, and it seems to still be here so far in the early going. Knotted up at 6. As Enright tries to dribble right inside off of McAllister, takes him right to the hoop, and he's going to draw a foul on him.
Boy, Enright is quite the big body, and he's moving from the three-point line. I mean, this offense is really spread out from Washington, and Enright has no fear. The newly guy that just checked in for Chatard, McAllister, already getting some early work trying to handle him, but he is unable to do so that time.
And Enright knocks home the first foul attempt here for Washington. Again, Enright, lots of size down low, but still only averaging about 4 rebounds per contest here through these first 3 games. And Enright goes 1 for 2 at the foul stripe. And looks like they got a lane violation anyway on Washington, so... Oh, they got an over-the-back foul, rather. So that's going to be on Washington. So Chatard basketball as we tick inside of 3 minutes. St. John tries to break the ankles there of Lee and then finds it inside, and getting the roll there for Chatard is Kevin Wells. And there's a steal back in the other way, and Wells to the rack again. 4 quick points here for Kevin Wells off of the bench.
Nicely done by Wells, and like you said, coming off the bench, great passing on that previous drive. After the St. John breaking some ankles just a little bit, get some nice cuts to the basket.
Let's take a look here at Wells again. Just getting a little bit of a lucky roll here on this one. Nice pass here by St. John to find him up top.
You saw the defender not knowing where Wells was going. That was Bridges, who just never had his eyes on Wells. Wells recognizes that, makes a proper cut towards the middle of the court, and is rewarded with a nice friendly roll.
So it's a 4-1 swing here for Chatard right now as they take the lead back. Largest lead of the game so far here in the early going, as you can imagine the scoring kind of at a premium right now. From the elbow. Nothing there for Roseman, but he gets his own rebound and kicks it back outside, and it's going to be fought for, and it's tipped out of play by Burns. Chatard ball. And so St. John will inbound the ball here, but we have a whistle away from the ball. It's going to be a foul. Looks like it's going to be on Chatard.
Yeah, I think it's a moving screen. McAllister is trying to get Roseman open in the corner. Usually you have these out-of-bounds plays on the side of the court. You try to run something like that with the help of the baseline to get a guy open, get one of your shooters open in the corner, but too much there from McAllister.
So you're going to get McAllister picking up foul number 2 on him, and of course that's McAllister coming off of the bench here for Chatard, and wide open down low is Damon Lee, the sophomore forward.
And a great find by Holder. Lee, just no one picked him up. All eyes on Holder at the top, and Lee making a nice cut towards the middle of the court yet again.
Washington keeping it close here with the Trojans as we tick down to 70 seconds left in the first quarter. Putting it on the floor is Ford. Up top, Alexander for 3. Now no good, but loose ball fought for by Ford. He gets the offensive rebound, and he's going to draw a foul on Washington.
Nicely done by Ford. We've already mentioned a couple of times, it looks like Continentals definitely have a size advantage, and they've gotten a couple of offensive rebounds themselves, but Ford can help out his team a lot by doing that exact thing for Bishop Chatard.
And Ford can't get it off of the inbound. Coming quick in transition, step back jumper for Jaquan Bridges.
First bucket for Bridges. He's now the 5th different scorer for the Continentals to make up their 11 points.
So Washington doing a good job of spreading the ball out, but there is St. John doing a good job of spreading the floor out as he gets his first bucket.
St. John kind of back and forth, swifting his way through just about everybody.
And now you have St. John playing the post down there, all while you have your size and TJ Ford up top right now. And now they switch it back. 15 seconds left here in the quarter. Balance into the ball game now for Washington. Underneath and wide open again is Damon Lee. And that will take us to the end of the quarter as the full court heave doesn't go there for Chatard. And it is a 1-point advantage for Washington after quarter number 1 here on IndianaSRN.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Tonight's broadcast brought to you by the Morales Group. We can match you with the right career or hire the right candidate for you and your company. We do so much more than that as well. Let us help you today. Contact the Morales Group at 317-472-7600. 1-point advantage right now for Washington on top of Bishop Chatard alongside Jarrett Lewis. I'm Kurt Darling. Jarrett, your thoughts on quarter number 1?
George Washington really, started off the game pretty well, and it's not really anything shooting. They're getting a lot of things down low. They're trying to attack, just like here you see again with Burns. They have 5 different scores, like we mentioned, late in that first quarter. Just the attacking from Washington has been relentless.
And there you see Scott Semler, who starts the second quarter for Chatard, picking up his first foul. And the team's 6th. So one more, they're putting Washington at the free throw line every time.
And for Chatard, as nearly gets away from Washington.
Loose ball, as you see Balance come away with it, and it's going to be Chatard basketball, it appears. And indeed, that is the call on the floor as Balance just loses the handle on it there.
Trojans started things off with a 3 from Alexander. And then Enright went out at one point late in that first quarter, and they really started to attack. And even when he was in there for just a little bit, they were still trying to go to the rack. Roseman and Ford were trying to get some offensive rebounds too. They went to the free throw line a couple of times, so they're going to need to do that a little bit more, try to win the rebound battle.
So the officials converse and they change the call. It's actually a foul on Drew Van Vliet, and that is going to be his first and the 7th on Chatard. So that puts Washington at the line for 1 and the bonus here, as you see Balance shooting the free throws here, and he gets on the board for the first time tonight.
Mostly new guys. It looks like a completely different starting 5 for Coach Roseman, so giving his starters perhaps all of them a real quick breather before they get back out on the court.
Also, a lot of it might be, too, a little bit of a line change just to see what kind of chemistry you have from your other guys, seeing as how this is your first game of the season.
Yeah, we did expect Coach Roseman to go pretty deep. I mean, this is a real deep roster. So he, right off the bat, utilizing 10 different guys.
Semler, a sophomore guard, kicks it out to Davidson. And instead we have a foul to stop play here. Robert Davidson, a 6'4" junior, here for this Chatard team, as Washington picks up their 6th foul of the ball game. And you get Latravion Enright. That's going to be his 2nd. He remains in the ball game, though. And now we have another whistle, and it's going to be a travel there, as you see Semler just shuffling his feet off of the inbound. So neither team has led by more than 3 so far in this contest. It's been mostly a grinder for points, but whenever they have gotten scores, they have certainly been efficient.
Yeah, for a team that averages 70 points a game in Washington, Chatard, I think this will be the toughest test so far this season for Washington. We're already seeing that, especially trying to score the basketball like you see here.
Losing the handle is Bridges. He has to get rid of it. Somehow threads the needle underneath to Holder, but he can't handle it, and it comes back to Roseman. And so some of the starters starting to trickle back into the lineup here as A.J. Roseman takes it into the lane, and it's batted away by Holder. Somehow coming away with it is Chatard, and a 3-pointer goes down for Robert Davidson.
Well, Washington was late, shuffling back, trying to get to their spots defensively. You had that batted pass, and Davidson was he was like waiting for the basketball. I'm wide open in the corner, and great pass, great find, and Davidson knocks it down.
That's 2 3-pointers now so far for Chatard. Meanwhile, Washington has yet to get into the column in that regard. Balance dumps it off now to Amon Burns. Balance hesitates, back out to Burns for 3, just a little long, and the rebound corralled by Davidson. Davidson brings it back up court, kicks it back outside. That's Colin Guy. Back into the corner, Roseman. And now you have some size on size right here, as you have Holder working on Davidson, and a foul away from the ball. It's going to be a screen, moving screen there underneath by it looks like Holder, and that is going to be foul number 3 on Holder, I believe. No, it's going to be his 2nd. But that will put the Trojans at the line for 1-1.
Yeah, I think it was on Balance.
Was it on Balance?
So they had a size mismatch. Because for Bishop Chatard, they're trying to get it to Van Vliet, who's at the free throw line, and Balance, who's much smaller. He was fighting and clawing, trying to get position on Van Vliet, and he never could. He ended up, I think, just tripping him.
And off the inbound here, again, no dice there on the free throw attempt. Looked like from Van Vliet.
Got 2 guys posting up this side.
And now you have a 3-second call and a turnover from Chatard, as you have Drew Van Vliet kind of loitering a little too long there down low.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a weird possession with Chatard. They had Van Vliet, and also it looked like Davidson. They were both kind of posting up on that block.
Right through traffic goes Amon Burns. And he misses the shot, but we'll see what the call is here on the floor. It's going to be a foul coming up on Kevin Wells, it appears, his first.
Looks like just 1 of 5 shooting free throws so far that's Chatard. Washington, decent job. They're 3 of 4 so far.
And now make it 3 of 5. As you see Carter St. John checking back into the ball game after a well-deserved breather. He had a 3-pointer to start things off here for Chatard, but has been quiet ever since. And Burns makes the most of his 2nd foul shot. He now has 3 points. Both teams doing a good job of spreading out the offense. No player has scored more than 4 points for either team. Wide open underneath on the delay there to Robert Davidson.
Now Davidson has 5, and they've all been in this quarter. He's the leading scorer in the entire game. And for Washington, their leading scorer is Damian Lee, who's come off the bench.
The fadeaway jumper goes there for Hickenbottom, a little bit too long. Back on the other side as you see Roseman try to get it in. It doesn't go.
Well, Roseman hasn't had much success taking it to the rack so far, and an easy travel call, unfortunately, on Holder.
A few too many steps here as we take a look at this last bucket from Chatard. Just a nice little play here, a long pass here to try and find Davidson.
Yeah, a well-coached team being able to break the press, and nice body control there with Davidson getting up in the air, just avoiding the defender. Kind of a little up and under to score.
And a few more subs here for, again, Coach Kenny Roseman, the previous head coach of Indianapolis, Washington. Meanwhile, Washington's looking for their first win over Chatard since 2007.
Yeah, the Trojans definitely own this series. They lead it 18-5. That's how the last 23 games have gone.
St. John nearly travels, loses the handle. Coming away with it are the Continentals. Quickly on the other side comes Balance, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds. Going to be a foul on Chatard.
Balance being aggressive now. He's going back to the free throw line. He's already 2 of 2 there. This may be the best year. This may be the best shot that the Continentals have of beating Chatard.
Is at the foul stripe, and they're certainly doing a better job in that regard than Chatard, as Chatard has only made 1 foul shot all night long out of 5. Meanwhile, Balance makes that the 4th make so far this evening, and make it the 5th for Washington. They have only missed 2 free throws. They are 5 of 7 so far. St. John back outside to Roseman, loading it up for 3. Nothing there from Colin Guy. Coach Roseman certainly giving a lot of his younger guys some decent minutes here, as you have Colin Guy, a sophomore, out there right now for the Trojans. Pulling up from just inside the wing is Balance. That's a little off the mark, but a big offensive rebound from Damon Lee. Hickenbottom just gets it ripped out of his hands by St. John. Coming back the other way is Roseman. The reverse doesn't go. And the loose ball thrown away by Alexander. Washington comes away with it, and looking inside, a blocking foul is going to be called on Chatard here. Who is going to be against remains to be seen. And again, it's going to be Carter St. John. That's 2 quick fouls for St. John, as this will now put Washington at the line for 2 foul shots for the remainder of this half.
Boy, Roseman's having a real tough at it so far. He's thinking there's a lid on that basket at that end. He's now the 4th or 5th time where he's taken it to the rack, and he's been aggressive. Hasn't been able to draw any fouls, and hasn't been able to put any of those shots down either. But I think that's something you just continue to do. I mean, they've made just 1 3 so far, has Bishop Chatard, or no, make it 2 threes now for Bishop Chatard. So they've been continuing to take it in, drive, and try and draw some fouls.
And with that shot, Travis Balance has made himself the leading scorer here for Washington, as he misses his first foul shot of the night, but he has 5 points to lead the way for Washington, all by way of the foul stripe. Roseman with Bridges sticking to him like glue. And some tough defense results in a turnover for Washington, and a thread-the-needle bounce pass blocked off of the glass by Chatard. Loose ball corralled there by Bridges, and Washington comes away with it.
Yeah, smart to bring it out, and now, is there an offensive foul? I think. Or no, it looks like they're going to have a side out. Back to this.
Well, let's take a look at
spot.
this. Big block there by the sophomore Colin Guy. Standing all of 5'11", jumping up there to get a big block.
He's seen all these NBA players start to do it. These players in the NBA, they see that ball go up, and they're immediately just looking to smack it off the glass, get a huge impact. And Guy, how about that for a sophomore? We talked about how deep this bench was. The Trojans, they have 7 seniors, and Washington has 8. So this is a very, very experienced, very senior-led teams playing here tonight. But you got some underclassmen thrown in there as well.
So the foul being recorded against Robert Davidson, who has checked out of the ball game here. Meanwhile, 2 made free throws there by Burns. So George Washington has not made a field goal so far this quarter. It has been all free throws. 6 points, 7 points total from the foul stripe.
9 of 12 overall as a team.
Alexander pulling up from the elbow and is short there, Van Vliet. But coming away with the rebound is Colin Guy. He can't get the bunny to go, and a foul underneath as Burns comes away with the rebound. And this time it's going to be against, looks like it's going to be TJ Alexander.
Bishop Chatard really does look to kind of sneak in there and poke the ball away from behind. Any rebound that Washington ends up getting, they're looking to do just that. And for the first time, they do end up getting a steal away, but they can't capitalize on it. Guy misses the bunny.
So quick correction here. It's actually 8 points scored by Washington in this quarter. All of them have come at the free throw line. As Burns misses another one there. That's his second miss of the night. As you see Semler check back into the ball game. It's certainly interesting. It's not every day you see a team outscore another team in a quarter entirely at the free throw line.
Yeah, they've made 8 of them. Like you said, this quarter they're now 9 of 13. Burns able to get them into double digits.
So inside of 2.5 minutes left here in the second quarter.
Plus, it's only been 2 guys, Kurt. It's Balance and Burns who've been getting to the free throw line 12 times. 12 attempts, I should say.
And a few players already for Chatard getting into some foul trouble here. A steal coming away from Washington. And it's stolen right back there by Chatard. Coming back the other way this time is Alexander, and he gets his pocket picked. So back-to-back steals for both teams. 2 for Washington, 1 for Chatard. Balance with it. Working right on Ford. He gets into the lane. Has to dump it back outside, and again, Washington resets the offense. Working around inside, Burns lets it roll in. So the first field goal of the second quarter comes from Amon Burns.
Chatard's kind of gone on a scoring drought in the second quarter, too.
Spinning inside, drawing the foul there is Van Vliet.
It's been a while. So Davidson's been the only one to score in this quarter. He's got all 5 of his points in this 7-minute span. Just a little under 7 minutes. But kind of give Washington, a little bit of their own medicine. That's all they've been doing is driving in, drawing fouls. If you're Chatard, they've still been doing that. They just haven't been successful at getting to the free throw line.
So this is Van Vliet back at the foul stripe again. He is 0 for 1 this evening and is now 1 for 2. And so with that, Washington is outscoring Chatard 11-6 this quarter after taking a 13-12 lead into the quarter. And 2 big free throws there from Drew Van Vliet. Obviously right now, if you're Chatard, you're still, seems like they're just playing a little frustrated and a little flat right now here. They just kind of got to settle down and get back in a rhythm.
And it's just a 5-point game. That's the good part. You have a whole minute and 14 to finish out the first half strong, and a good way to do that is starting right now, because it looks like Washington picks up this foul.
So it's going to be a blocking foul here on Washington. And that's going to be Bridges' first foul and the team's 9th. So because of the circumstances of the foul, it does not mean free throws. But still, Chatard has a chance to try and cut into this slowly built up lead here for for Washington. And Semler gets the ball swatted away from him in the paint, and it looks like maybe Travis Balance caught a little skin along with the ball.
Yeah, fans don't appreciate the call. They thought it didn't look like much contact, and so just loses. That was Semler that just lost the basketball, it looked like. I didn't think it was much contact, like hitting the arm or anything.
And Semler misses that free throw. And so that is going to be Balance's second personal foul. Both teams are certainly hefty in the foul department tonight, because that is the 10th personal foul on Washington this half. Chatard already has well over 10 fouls. As we're inside of a minute. And Burns, being harassed there in the forecourt, has to get rid of it. Balance gets around the defender, dumps it off to his teammate Lee, and he gets that to roll in.
No call on the Alexander, just went flying down. Maybe he was ready for that one. He was going to go down no matter what, try to sell it. But good no call, and Lee able to convert.
And the three-pointer loaded up there by Wells doesn't fall, but still put right back in there for Chatard.
Yeah, TJ Ford came flying in. Nobody boxes him out. And a quick steal.
And a shot goes up at the buzzer, and that will not go. So Chatard comes back from an 8-point deficit at one point to cut it to 4, but George Washington putting together a solid first 16 minutes of basketball. They lead at the half, 26-22. Well, Jarrett Lewis, taking a look at the stat sheet right here, it's certainly unusual to say the least, but Washington, despite the fact that Chatard had a little bit of a comeback there down the stretch, they outscore Washington outscores Chatard in that second quarter, mostly at the foul stripe. They only had 4 points from the floor that whole quarter.
Yeah, they outscored them 13-10 in that second quarter, which was really close to the first quarter. These two teams really evened out. Defenses are playing extremely well. Bishop Chatard has to be happy with how they've limited Washington to just 26 points, a team that's averaging 70 or more in every game this season. Washington has eclipsed the 60-point mark, so a pretty good first half and a good first showing. You know, your first game of the year if you're Chatard, good way to come out and start your season.
Indeed it is. Well, to become an IHSAA official, you need to contact the IHSAA office. Get involved with the men and women behind the stripes. It's a great way to stay in shape and to make some extra money. Be a part of the games by visiting ihsaa.org/officials. Also, unlike most broadcast companies, our funding comes primarily from donations and school subscriptions. Help us put more kids on TV by clicking on our donate button on our webpage, IndianaSRN.org, for more information. Well, the score at halftime at 26-22. George Washington leading the Trojans of Bishop Chatard here after 2 quarters. We'll take our first time out here of the halftime show. Don't go anywhere. More halftime breakdown coming up next here on IndianaSRN.
Today, greed, selfish interest, and barefaced corruption seem all the fashion. America needs great men of tolerance who can give honest debate to the great issues of the day. I'm seeing mostly squabbling, men squandering their time, being wolves to one another. Yet, I'm not without hope. We still have Freemasonry. Yes, the same Freemasons that helped create this country have always provided great men when needed. And today, in every city and town in America, Freemasonry is still providing that special place where young men can find their greatness and accomplished men can give something back. Yes, in this time of great hope, it is my hope that America will see that Freemasonry is a national treasure that cannot be separated from our country's future.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
(26-22) is your halftime score as the Continentals of Washington have a 4-point edge over the Trojans of Bishop Chatard. Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. Well, Jarrett, we touched on it briefly before we went to the halftime break. Obviously, a very unique first half, but needless to say, a good start here for Washington, while Chatard seems like they have a few cobwebs that they have to shake off here in their season opener.
Well, they can be happy with the score. It's a real close game. The defense has played well for most of that first half. And how about, we mentioned the deep roster. We'll mention it a couple of times now. 8 different scorers for the Trojans in that first half. So, like we said in the pregame, there's no one guy that's going to do it all for Bishop Chatard. It takes all 5 guys out on the court, and Coach Roseman has played 10 so far. For Washington, continuing to drive it to the bucket has been their success in getting to the free throw line. That second quarter, we talked about it a couple of times, just the amount of free throws they put up. 12 free throws in that second quarter, and just from 2 guys. It was Balance and Burns really doing all the heavy lifting. Right now, Burns leads everyone in scoring with just 8 points. So kind of the same thing on the side of Washington. No really one guy doing it all. But in that second quarter, the 2 Bs of Balance and Burns really staying on attack mode.
Indeed it is there. You mentioned Amon Burns leading all scorers with 8 points. Meanwhile, Damon Lee has 6 points. And then you have Travis Balance, who has 5 points for Washington. Meanwhile, you have Chatard on the other hand. They're led by Robert Davidson off of the bench, mind you. He has 5 points. Meanwhile, you have Kevin Wells, who has 4 points, also off of the bench for Chatard. The starters, T.J. Alexander, T.J. Ford, and A.J. Roseman have 3, 3, and 2 in that respect. And then you have Carter St. John and Drew Van Vliet, each with 2 points, and the singular point for Scott Semler coming off of the bench for them as well. We'll take one more quick timeout, and then we'll come back with the start of the second half here on IndianaSRN. Both teams going through some second half warm-ups before we get going for another 16 minutes of basketball left to be played here on the north side of Indianapolis at Bishop Chatard High School. Once again alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. Well, Jarrett, now as we've talked about here, Bishop Chatard getting set for their for the second half here of their season opener. This is going to be the first of 3 home games that they have to start their regular season. They have a road game tomorrow, in a few days' time here against Heritage Christian, but then they're back home December 11th against Evansville Bosse. So Evansville Bosse making the long trek up here to play a game here from down south. And then you have Covenant Christian in their second conference play game to start the regular season here on December 17th. 17th. So certainly a good feeling there to know that you have 3 home games in your first 4 games to start the season when you have a brand new team like this.
Yeah, and again, a really weird time to have your season opener. We've kind of already the 7th day in December. It's really hard to believe. It feels like it just started. But soon enough, these guys will get a break. They'll have Christmas break. So to have that many home games and to, just start the season this late is awfully weird. But being home and then you get that Christmas break is going to be awfully nice. But a really tough start to their season with Washington coming in here undefeated. One thing I'm sure they're proud about for Coach Roseman is keeping Hickenbottom in check. He went scoreless in that entire first half. Their leading scorer this season. But other guys stepped up for the Continentals. It's really, you got to worry about all 5 guys for Washington as you do for Bishop Chatard.
Aaron Hogg's squad in Washington looking for their 4th win in a row to start the season. And keep in mind, they've only had 1 home game all season long. They played Calumet on a neutral court in their season opener before heading out to and then they played Providence Cristo Rey at their home gym. That was a road game for Washington as Providence Cristo Rey plays at Washington's home gym. Then they had Irvington Prep, which was a true home game. To start things off, though, here in this second half, Chatard turning it over right out of the gate. Not exactly what you want to see right there if you're head coach Kenny Roseman.
Yeah, just 10 seconds in, moving screen called on TJ Ford. So, yeah, just like you said, Kurt, not a way you want to start second half. I expect that this pressure, this kind of 3/4 court, full court pressure that Chatard has brought out a couple of times, I expect we'll see that a lot more as this game ensues into the later parts.
So here's Amon Burns right now working on Sylvester Williams. Williams had to come out of the game early because of a couple quick fouls early, and then you see a 5-second call there on Burns. Couldn't get it away in time, and again, they'll call that if you're dilly-dallying a little bit like that in the backcourt.
It's almost a call you forget about here and there. You don't see it at the higher levels, so I forget about it a couple times.
Roseman into the lane, kicking it up, trying to find Williams. Instead, that's intercepted there by Washington. Coming back the other way is Burns, and he can't get the finger roll to fall, and the rebound comes to Chatard. Bounce pass long underneath to Roseman. He gets double-teamed by the size, and now we have a whistle, and it's going to be a turnover here by Chatard as it looked like maybe Roseman stepped along the baseline.
Well, that's 3 quick turnovers in just a minute's time committed by Chatard to start the second half.
And so already a minute away here in this third quarter, and things have not changed here in the scoring department as the halftime score still remains on your scoreboard. There's Enright, who sat most of the second quarter with 2 fouls. He gets it right to the basket, can't quite finish. St. John on the other side here for Bishop Chatard. And now you have St. John playing a little point guard here. Didn't see a lot of that in the first half. Roseman kicking it back up here to Williams. Williams splits the defenders, kicks it back out. 3 on the way from Alexander, and he hits.
You start the first half, you start the game with a 3-pointer from Alexander, and how about starting the second half in the same fashion? Great passing, great ball movement from the Trojans.
And now a dead ball here as a whistle going the other way.
Another turnover. That drive, that score started with a nice drive into the lane from Williams, and the defense they have to collapse on him, so it's an easy kick out for Williams.
So 26-25 on your scoreboard right now as you see another take by Chatard come up empty. Washington coming back the other side. And this time a 3-pointer going there from Bridges, and that's just off the front of the rim, and you have a foul going up for the rebound. It's going to be against Washington.
It's going to be on Enright.
And that's going to be number 3 on the big man.
I'm guessing Coach Hogg wants to have Enright play most of the second half, a lot more minutes than he did in the first half. The defense is it seems a whole lot better. It seems like it's a notch up when Enright is patrolling the lane.
26-25 on the scoreboard, 5.5 left to go in the third quarter. Bounce pass through traffic in the reverse and blocked by Enright down low, and that is certainly why Coach Hogg wants to keep Enright in the game despite the 3 fouls.
Yeah, that's the difference he makes right there. Ford had no shot at getting that shot to even have a chance. I mean, Enright put it right off the board.
And so it goes out of play there off of Washington, so it remains Chatard basketball.
Although they do take out Enright after that dead ball.
But now they have a little bit more size in there as you see Cortez Washington, the senior forward, check into the ball game for the first time tonight to kind of replace, and he gets the rebound right there.
Washington for Washington. Good patience.
Certainly.
Also. You do miss the shot if you're Williams, but nice patience getting your defender up in the air. Those shots will fall if you try them again, and here he is.
And a steal here for Chatard. Williams back the other way, and they're content to let that one fall in there as Chatard retakes the lead. So it is a quick 7-0 or 5-0 run to start things off here for Chatard.
And Williams becomes the 9th different guy to put one through the net for Bishop Chatard, that is.
And there's Burns. Tries to go along the baseline, can't get that one to fall. And Williams again with the finger roll, but he can't connect that time.
Smallest guy on the court gets a rebound, takes it all the way. Really good with the basketball is Sylvester.
There's Burns trying it again, the exact same shot that he took the last time. It still doesn't go, but this time it yields a 2-shot foul.
Free throw attempts 7 and 8 upcoming for the senior. Averages 18 points this year, along with 4.5 assists, 3 steals. Also, Kurt, there are 4 guys that average 2 steals or more per game for Washington.
So it certainly goes to show, and you see them forcing a lot of turnovers here. Now, we've certainly seen a lot of steals tonight, but it seems to me that as you see Burns miss the foul shot there, that Washington is really priding themselves on just being stingy in transition and forcing turnovers.
Yeah, we thought that would be a key in the pregame, is using those active hands, getting those steals, and try to pick up some fast break points, although Chatard has done mostly a nice job at preventing Washington from getting out and running.
So Burns misses both free throws there. On the other side, St. John for 3, just a little short. Bridges feeds it underneath to Washington, and he gets the and one. And so Cortez Washington did not play at all in the first half, but subbing in to bring in some size down low for the Continentals, and it pays off as he goes for an and one.
Well done by Bridges, waiting to the last possible second to dish off this basketball. You have to bring in St. John over to help and leave a lane. Even though it wasn't much there, St. John did a decent job of getting back, but it was just enough for Washington to get the feed and put it up.
And that's foul number 3 on St. John, as you see Washington come up empty on the and one. So George Washington retakes the lead, only briefly though, as Roseman is back the other way for an easy lay-in.
Yeah, Roseman we talked about a tough go in that first half. He did a lot of nice drives, take it into the rack, didn't get any fouls drawn, but he's still going to stay aggressive. We know that, and had a quiet second quarter, but able to score that time.
Up top is Damon Lee. Burns working on Williams. And now Williams off the switch, nearly comes away with the steal. Hickenbottom gets it back. Along the baseline, trying to dish it underneath to Washington. It gets tipped out of play, and it will remain with the Continentals.
Well, good job of he noticed the defender's hand get up there. He thought about the shot, but opted to try to get it down low to Washington. A good attempt there, and now it looks like Coach Hobbs.
And this is the first timeout taken by either team in this ballgame. We will take one with them here on IndianaSRN. Well, right now, it's certainly the way that Chatard likes it here, as you see the Trojans working back out ahead after being down 4 at the halftime period. Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. So if you're Coach Aaron Hogg, they call their first timeout of the ball game, first timeout by either team in this one. If you're Coach Hogg, what are you telling your team in that timeout?
Well, Chatard started off that third quarter with a 7-2 run. He's probably telling his guys, let's not take any unnecessary risk. Let's not give these guys any sort of open lanes or open shots. Williams isn't out there right now, but he was out there for that third quarter, really was keeping his offense in control, and he was smart with the basketball, making the right decisions, dishing out to guys like Roseman and Alexander who have scored in this quarter.
And so Davidson picks up the foul there. That'll be his first. And now you have an offensive foul on the going the other way here, as you could clearly see maybe a few too many hands being used there by Cortez Washington.
Yeah, Washington looked like trying to clear out a lot of space. Right now, Washington and Enright are both out on the floor for Coach Hogg, a different look that we haven't seen so far tonight.
So using a lot of size here is Washington. Working up top now is Kevin Wells. And here's St. John, and there's some triangle offense looking here, but just a little too quickly on the passing. It goes out of play, and it looks like it may have just been tipped out of there by the Continentals.
Yeah, and luckily for the Continentals, because St. John working with Wells, who was trying to kick it out to Davidson, who already hasn't made 3 tonight. If that's not tipped, Davidson's going to get a wide open look.
So resetting the offense here are the Trojans. St. John. Big mismatch there on Enright, still wide open outside, and a three-pointer is knocked down by the 5'7" guard Sam Lewis.
First time we've called Sam Lewis's name tonight, the junior, first time off the bench.
And nearly a steal there by Chatard as they're getting stingy in the forecourt. And now you have another one, and it's a 10-second call on Washington. Let's take a look at this three here again from the junior guard, Sam Lewis.
Well, first it was a great cut by Alexander, and St. John dished it into him. Again, another perfect example of when you move without the basketball and you make crisp passes like that, the defense has to adjust, and they collapsed down on Alexander as he drove in, left Lewis wide open for the three.
St. John dishes it back out to Wells. And now St. John again working one-on-one underneath. Wide open again for three are the Trojans. Kevin Wells.
Beautiful passing yet again from Bishop Chatard. These guys know how to work well with each other. This is such a senior-led team. You can tell that they've been playing with each other for quite some time.
Largest lead of the ball game for the Trojans now, as Washington has to get a few things together here as Burns tries to answer with a three of his own. He comes away with the rebound, and there's going to be tipped out of play there by St. John. As you see Roseman check back into the ball game here for the Trojans, and still some excellent minutes being turned in by pretty much almost every player that you can think of here for Chatard. If I can look at it correctly here, there's only maybe a handful of players that either haven't played or if they have played, haven't scored here for Chatard.
Yeah, I think Lewis with that last made three was different score number 10 for Bishop Chatard.
Certainly spreading things out. No player for Chatard has scored more than 5 points. Washington with the inbound. They have to get it inside now, and they get it outside to Burns instead as he falls out of bounds. And now there's a foul going underneath. It's going to be on the floor before the shot went up, and it's again going to be on Robert Davidson.
Kind of a weird foul. Davidson didn't really do much, and it looked like Burns was able to get around him easily, but referee says enough there to call it. Nobody really in foul trouble either. That's a good thing.
Certainly opposite to what it was in the first half, as Holder can't get the shot to fall again. Loose ball corralled by Roseman, and he has a man in stride going right to the rim is Kevin Wells.
Wells now has 9 after that bucket, and Burns is able to answer, and a quick timeout called by Coach Hogg. I had a feeling that was coming sooner or later.
30-second timeout called by Coach Aaron Hogg. Stay up to date on whatever's going on with IndianaSRN.org by visiting our sports page or Troy at RadioTroy.com. There's scores, stats, and much more. Also, be sure to check out the IHSAA Foundation and catch up on what's going on with the IHSAA Foundation. Subscribe to our newsletter, The Advocate. Email us at ihsaa.foundation.org. Let's take a look at some replays here at Jarrett Lewis, and certainly a nifty play here on the other side by Armon Burns here.
It wasn't a fast break at all. Nobody picking up Burns on the defensive end. He's not a guy you want to leave open. That's his first made three. Most of his points, he's gone to the free throw line an awful lot. He's 5 of 8 from, that's 4 of 7 from the charity stripe. But he's got 11 points. He's definitely not a guy that you want to see get high. And now with this lead, definitely want to hold on to that and make sure you keep track of Burns wherever he's at.
But with that shot, that snapped a 15-2 run here for Chatard out of the halftime period. That's also the first made three among any players here for Washington this evening. As we tick inside of a minute. And Wells looks into the corner. Roseman over his man, short on the three-pointer. And we have a jump ball called, and the arrow is going to favor Washington.
That's a set you normally see a lot against a 2-3 zone. You try to run some baseline screens, get your shooter open in the corner. And it wasn't when you have Sam Lewis trying to set a screen on a much bigger body like Enright was playing down low. That's going to be tough for a shot to get off.
Burns kicks it back outside. Three ball there by Balance, just off of the mark. If there's any one glaring stat right now, it's the fact that Washington has not been able to make it from outside as Roseman waits for the defenders to fall on top of him wisely and draws more fouls here on the Continentals.
Boy, Roseman had his option. He drew 3 defenders. He's able to draw the foul, so he'll go to the free throw line. But he had Alexander on the left wing. He had, on the other side, Davidson at the three-point line. He could have dished it out to anybody, but still trying to go after points here.
And Roseman in the act of shooting there, so it's going to be foul shots for him. That is his second made foul shot out of 3 this evening. Foul shooting was not very good in the first half for Chatard, but as Roseman is true on both of those. And he now has 7 points. Inside 10 seconds. Burns has to do something here. He goes right to the rim, a little short. Holder tries to get the rebound, but time expires before he can do anything with it. And we go to quarter number 4 here between Washington and Chatard on IndianaSRN.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
So as we were talking off air here, Jarrett Lewis, a 17-5 swing for Chatard after they were trailing 26-22 at the half. They now lead by an 8-point margin at 39-31. Obviously, George Washington, they have a few things to work on here and clean up before they go into quarter number 4.
Bishop Chatard just did a tremendous job driving in and kicking. Sometimes the game is really simple when you make it simple like that. The defense has to collapse on you when you have guys that are athletic and can handle the ball really well and can maneuver around the defenders and kick out to shooters. We saw 3 made threes in that quarter from Bishop Chatard.
Underneath inside to TJ Ford to start things off here in this fourth quarter, picking up right where they left off as Chatard now leads by the largest margin of this contest. And Enright spinning inside the hook shot doesn't go off the glass for the big man. Williams, bounce pass to Roseman, goes off of balance, gets the putback in the offensive rebound to go along with it.
It wasn't really a good shot from Roseman the first time, but you got to fall out with a box out. He really bailed out Roseman that time, and now all of a sudden you're trailing by 12.
And now you just see Chatard really clicking like a well-oiled engine right now here in this second half. And Burns gets his pass deflected there by St. John. The loose ball is on the ground, and it was possessed by Chatard, who called their first timeout of this ball game. And it looks like they may be taking a full timeout, and indeed they are. We'll take one with them here on IndianaSRN.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. This land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Well, George Washington certainly looked like they could be in control of this game through the first 2.5 quarters, Jarrett Lewis, but Chatard has certainly put things together as they have jumped out to their largest lead of the ball game, 12 points, 43-31. And this is a Washington team. They're 3-0 to start the season. They're looking for their first winning season since 2018 when they went 11-10 that year.
They're really used to scoring, Washington is, and this defense from Bishop Chatard has given them fits. We love talking about George Washington, the amount of steals that they get, the amount of turnovers that they force, but Chatard has really beaten them at their own game, and they forced a lot of turnovers of their own that have led to points.
And now you see Washington really spread out on defense, but Burns, again, just getting a little too handsy as he picks up his second foul.
This Bishop Chatard team, they're really not going to outscore you. They're not going to put major points up on the board. You kind of get that vibe from them so far in this ball game, and they only averaged 57 points last year. So, and to have 10 different scorers, I mean, that right there will tell you that they're not going to put major points up on the board and have a shooting contest with you. They are going to grind out possessions, move the basketball around really well, incorporate all 5 guys, and play really solid defense.
And so it looked like Jaquan Bridges got called for a tripping foul there. That is number 3 on him. And Sylvester Williams underneath to Roseman, through traffic, can't get the shot to go. Washington comes away with it, and you see Hickenbottom go right to the basket. And that is a name that we actually have not called at all tonight. Believe it or not, I'm just now realizing it. He averages 20 points a ball game. That is the first time he has scored all night long.
First 2 points for Hickenbottom. That's the defense we've talked about for Chatard.
And Ford for Chatard draws the foul underneath.
And I think Washington needs to do a little bit more of that. They need to get the ball going up the floor, because you saw right there Hickenbottom had a one-on-one. You'll take that, even though he hasn't been able to score. You'll take fast break opportunities like that. And, worst case scenario, you could be drawing a foul. You could be going to the free throw line. You're going to need the clock to stop as much as you can the rest of this game if you're the Continentals.
Ford, the second time to the foul stripe for him tonight, and he finally makes a free throw. He went 0 for 2 the first time. And Ford knocks him down. He now has 4 points. Again, Chatard not led by anybody blazingly in particular tonight in the scoring department. The leading scorer so far is A.J. Roseman with 9. But they have had 10 different players score this evening. And you get right down inside as Travis Balance getting a little physical.
There's a real flying elbow from Balance, able to create some space. I don't think it was intentional necessarily.
And you got a carrying violation on Williams.
But that's what we're talking about. That, you know, Continentals quickly were able to break the press and into the half court. It took them just a couple of seconds for Balance to make that drive. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fast break. The Continentals, when they're moving fast, it seems like they're having a little bit more success.
Travis Balance averaging 11 points a contest. So far he has 7 tonight. Hickenbottom looks to Balance in the corner for 3, just a little short off the front of the iron. And A.J. Roseman comes away with it. St. John leaves it for Roseman. A good little weave up top here. Wide open is Ford. He thinks better of it, opting to take more time off the clock probably, as Williams has it now down low. And again, if you're Chatard,
right move.
If you're Chatard, you can milk the clock a little bit here as Roseman gets the floater over the big man.
Yeah, I think that's the right move from Ford. I mean, you've seen how well the Trojans have moved the basketball around. They can get that shot whenever they want, as we see a quick travel, unforced turnover here from Burns. But for the Trojans, they can get that shot whenever they want. They don't necessarily need it now that they're down 12.
And it just seems to me, Jarrett, that Washington has been able to negate a lot of the defensive pressure of the Trojans. They just haven't been able to get it through the net here whenever they have had those opportunities.
Yeah, that's something about that side of the gym. The ball's bouncing off of it a little bit differently.
Williams right down the lane into the big man, and he's going to be getting a charge as you see LaTravion Enright standing his ground on the much smaller Sylvester Williams.
Boy, Williams just ran. I mean, Enright took it real nice. He took that charge, but he pretty much ran him over. The smaller Williams putting Enright on the ground. Great charge taken by the big fella. Let this give you a little kickstart offensively if you're the Continentals.
And now a whistle as we were coming in transition. It looks like a foul away from the ball here.
Yeah, they're looking at something in the corner of the gym. Not exactly sure.
They stop play here, so no call on the floor. They're just going to stop play here just to make a few housekeeping things, and it'll be taken out here by Washington. Hickenbottom. And trying to get it inside Washington, and LaTravion Enright can't quite handle it there as it got caught up in some traffic.
Well, Wells was eyeing the pass the whole way, and he tipped it around. And unfortunate for the Trojans, they didn't get a steal out of that. It went off of St. John.
I guess that'd be the equivalent of staring down your receiver if you're a quarterback in football.
That's right. Yep.
So Washington basketball here. Hickenbottom takes it out, and Enright just powering right in on the glass and cannot convert. Again, Washington having a hard time with the opportunities. Roseman on the other end, and he gets the shot to fall. No, it's going to be... Looks like a timeout was called before the shot went off. A 30-second timeout here called by Chatard, it appears.
Unless they got it in after the shot. We'll check with our producer and see what happened there. So it looks like the shot, I think the shot counts, and I think Coach Roseman got that timeout right after it went
so
through.
Roseman gets the points, so it's 49-35, and Roseman has certainly come on here in the second half. He had 7 points at the end of quarter number 3. He's added another 6, so he has 13 points to lead all scorers this evening.
And we saw in that last possession for Washington trying to get Enright involved. It's going to be, I don't think he's going to be a guy to go to when you're down 14 and just 4:08 left to go. But 3 points in the first quarter and nothing talked about since then. So really, if he would have gotten more involved, I think if they got him more touches, this could be a much different ball game. But he hasn't had any success either, and he's really had the size advantage too. He's been bullying guys around, moving them wherever he wants them to go.
And you saw it on that last play right there. He's been able to get down low, just can't quite get it to go through the net. And so Washington still trying to conserve a little bit of clock here. They'll walk it up court.
And when you're down 14 like this halfway through the final quarter, you look, just one made 3 all game from Washington. That came from Burns in the third quarter. We're really going to start to see more shots put up like that. And you're hoping that they can go through. Only have one made 3 is quite impressive.
And so Carter St. John picks up foul number 4. And this is going to be one in the bonus here from here on out for Washington. Possibly something they can take advantage of here. Again, remember, they outscored Chatard in the second quarter, mostly on free throws. As Armand Burns, he had 8 points to close out the first half, but has only had 4, now make it 5 here in the second half. So now he has 13 points of his own. And there you see Latravion Enright check out of the ball game.
Burns has had a real nice game, 13 points, 6 of 8 from the free throw line.
St. John off of the quick inbound, dumps it off to Ford, who draws a foul.
Hickenbottom thought he got all ball. He came in from behind, kind of, that right arm came down on Ford. Great passing again. Trojans have had no problem breaking this pressure from George Washington.
And Ford once again back at the foul stripe. He's been true so far in this fourth quarter. He's 2 for 2. And now make it 2 for 3.
Broadcaster's jinx.
Sometimes it happens. And now Latravion Enright quickly back into the ball game.
Yeah, Enright might be a guy that is setting screens away from the ball. You're trying to get some shooters open for Washington from here on out.
TJ Ford now 3 for 4 at the foul stripe this quarter. There's Balance, making sure it goes in this time.
Oh, really tough drive by Balance, initiating the contact and taking every bit of it and still able to finish.
Travis Balance, one of 2 Balance brothers. Daniel Balance, number 10 here for Washington, hasn't seen any minutes so far this evening. Double teamed in the corner is Wells. But still Roseman into the lane, and looks like it's going to be a foul here on Washington. It may have been borderline a travel there by Roseman down low. It was certainly close.
It was close. But again, even getting out of a double team in the corner by Wells, great cutting back. Alexander, I believe, came cutting across, and Roseman, those 2 guys too. I mean, everybody on this Trojans team, whatever 5 guys are out there, they're cutting towards the basketball. They're making the right cuts whenever they don't have the basketball in their hands.
A.J. Roseman makes the first one. Back to a 12-point deficit for Washington. Now make it 13. That's now the largest lead of the ball game by either team this evening. Washington led by 4 at the half. Chatard has had a stellar second half here to come back. And a rough and tumble way there, as you see Balance get tangled up with Alexander. And it looks like Alexander is going to get called for the foul. No, they're going to give it to Wells this time.
Yeah, Wells was kind of going after the basketball, but there was, I think, too much contact there to not call something.
So you put Balance back at the foul stripe. He's been one of the bright spots in that regard here this evening for Washington, as he has only missed 1 free throw all night long. That is his 6th out of 7.
Still a lot of time left in this ball game, 3:05. I mean, it has to start with stops, though, if you're Washington.
And so Balance makes both free throws. Long inbound. Wells underneath to Ford. Nothing but net there off the glass.
You know what, though, Kurt? I think Ford wanted the oop. He wanted that pass up there towards the rim. I think he pointed up for it.
Hickenbottom trying to get back into the scorer's column. He has been quiet tonight. Instead, he'll draw a foul.
Yeah, if you're going to start scoring, you might as well make it now if you're Hickenbottom. Just 2 points so far. But you can't be trading buckets. I mean, that was an easy pass. The length of the floor. It just took 1 pass down the floor, and the Trojans scored in about 4 or 5 seconds.
And so Hickenbottom now with his 3rd point. Again, he's a player certainly going to want to be relying on if you're head coach Aaron Hogg, but his average of 20 points is certainly way off that tonight. And a turnover back the other way by TJ Ford.
Yeah, if you're Ford, I mean, unless it's wide open, you can take it. You can go ahead and bring that back out, set up some movement in your offense, and try to take as much clock off as you can.
So the Travion Enright back into the ball game here. He has 3 fouls, mind you. So he has a little bit of cushion here over the last 2.5 minutes. Balance in the corner, pulls up from the baseline. Gets the steal off of the rebound, splits the defenders, is going to draw a foul in the lane. And this will still result in 2 shots, regardless of the fact that he didn't quite get the shot up in the first place.
Nicely done by Balance. You missed this shot, but you still try to get the basketball back.
And if he makes both these free throws, this cuts it back inside of a 10-point ball game. And so Williams checks back into the ball game. His name is Sylvester, goes by the nickname Sly. And now the officials are conversing here as they try to figure some things out with about 2.5 minutes left to go. And they may be asking about whether or not somebody can come in or not. And so Enright's going to come back out. They got to check a few more things. So Damon Lee will be back into the game here. As Balance again is true from the foul stripe. Washington has not missed a free throw at all this fourth quarter. And there you have it there, Jarrett. 9-point ball game.
It's pretty good.
And a timeout called on the floor.
8 of 8 free throws in this quarter for the Continentals.
Full timeout. We'll take on with them here on IndianaSRN.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The scoring's only been done here by TJ Ford and A.J. Roseman of Chatard here this fourth quarter, and it has certainly been effective. But as we were talking about here, Jarrett Lewis, George Washington, they've been able to slowly claw back into this one here. It's back to a 9-point deficit after they had been down by as much as 13.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do, though, is trading buckets for Chatard. And with this full court press, the Trojans have really been scoring easily. There's been wide open lanes once they get across the half court line. But continue to attack, draw fouls like they have been doing, which stops the clock and you get to the free throw line.
Williams working on Hickenbottom here. And now if you're Chatard, you're content to try and waste a little bit of time, but still a foul going the other way here as you see Wells getting a little handsy there, and it's a turnover back to Washington.
Yeah, bad turnover too. There's no passing. It's one guy dribbling around trying to burn some clock, and it's just an easy giveaway.
And as you hear right there, no fans don't want to foul here off of Chatard. As Balance working it up top. Balance into the lane, splits the defenders, can't finish off the glass. It has just been unfriendly that side of the court here for the Continentals.
It's just a great take, and he was ready to get that contact. Just don't know how it doesn't go down for him.
Williams working it around on Hickenbottom. And we have a whistle and a timeout called here by Chatard, it appears.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Roseman likes this movement that he's seeing from the Trojans. It's really just been Sylvester Williams dribbling it around and everybody standing in their one spot.
Full timeout. We'll take one with them here on Indiana SRN.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Nine-point game here for Chatard as they try to close this out over the last 97 seconds remaining in this contest. Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling. Thanks so much for joining us here this evening here at Chatard as the Trojans try to put a stamp on this one, but not if Washington has a few things to say about it here. Nice ball movement by the Trojans as they get it to Davidson. He can't finish but draws a foul.
That was superb ball movement, and Davidson, they kind of forget about him. That ball was on that side of the court for so long. As Davidson's in this near side corner, you just kind of forget about him. And so when he makes that proper cut to that block, that's just a great find and a great pass. He didn't need the shot, but he might as well go up, draw the foul.
And now Davidson being called on off of the bench here. He had 5 points all in the second quarter earlier in this ball game. He didn't play a whole lot in the third quarter, but gets back in here and turns in some good minutes tonight here for Coach Roseman. And Davidson misses the back half. Balance in the corner for just inside for a long two, and that goes out of play and back to Chatard.
Good try, trying to get that quick hitter. Balance runs the baseline and just getting into the corner, just real quick catch and shoot. That's what you're going to have to do in this stage of a game when you're down 10.
But now with 72 seconds left, the opportunities are starting to be few and far between here for the Continentals.
Yeah, they sure are. It's just you try to go after the steal. If you don't get it, you're going to have to foul.
Chatard gets it across the timeline. Hickenbottom working on Wells. Inside Williams, underneath to Davidson.
There it is again. Davidson from the corner. Everybody forgets about him, and he just makes a simple cut to the basket.
And now a stoppage, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Amon Burns. And you can just tell Burns playing a little frustrated here in this second half.
Yeah, and Burns is really – he leads Continentals in scoring right now with 13. He's been trying to be the one to light something, and he just – a little too much there, but I mean, at this point of the game, you can't really blame him.
Inside 40 seconds left in this one. As TJ Alexander looks over to Roseman. And now Washington finally fouls after they let 10 precious seconds tick away right there. And so if things hold true here for Chatard, they have a good start to their season. This is their season opener as they would take a 1-0 advantage inside to Heritage Christian in 3 days' time. They go on the road just up to the northeast side of Indianapolis as Roseman knocks down that first one.
Always a tough game with those two. Yeah, we believe we'll have that game at Heritage Christian.
Meanwhile,
the tremendous junior in Colvin for the Eagles, too.
And Roseman hits the second one. Meanwhile, for Washington, they get ready for their first in-season tournament of the season as they always play the Greater Indianapolis Tournament early in the season, as this will put Enright at the line on this foul. So you'll be seeing a lot of A lot of teams playing each other from this greater Indianapolis conference, such as Crystal House Manual, Central Christian, Irvington Prep, Purdue Poly, Inglewood, all taking part in that tournament.
Could be a nice little tune-up, I think, for Washington before they play the city tournament, which is in the middle of January. So you start off with the greater Indianapolis tourney, those conference teams. And then the city tournament, always tough. Always good basketball there.
It always is indeed. You got teams like Tech, Brebeuf, as well as Cathedral taking part in that one as well. Meanwhile, the clock's continuing to just slowly tick away here as we get stoppages and another foul by Washington. Still, this is the first time that the Continentals were able to start 3-0 since 2013. So needless to say, after many seasons here for Washington where they haven't been able to get the wheels greased just enough here in the early parts of the season, even though this will probably be their first loss here this evening, needless to say, a 3-0 start for the Continentals under second-year head coach Aaron Hogg. It just shows they have the pieces there to at least have a good season.
Yeah, a really good start, and just with this first real tough matchup with Chatard, they can really take a lot away from this game. Can Coach Hogg and his team, and just kind of use that to build on for the rest of this season. Trojans, sure enough, will be a tough matchup the rest of the year.
Hickenbottom right to the rim there. Doesn't fall. It goes out of play with just 3 seconds left to go here in this one. Chatard can all but put this one to bed.
How about Roseman has 11 points in this fourth quarter. He's 5 of 6 shooting free throws. He's going to finish with 18.
And that will lead all scorers this evening. Also, TJ Ford has had a heck of a second half here as well. He only had 2 points in the first half, but has since gone on to score another 9 points here in this fourth quarter. So he'll finish with 11.
Clock didn't start. They inbounded it.
They got to start the clock here. They inbounded the ball and the clock didn't start.
Everybody's saying the game's over.
They may as well. And they may as well. They're just going to put some time back on the clock, actually, and they're going to reset. They're just going to reset everything here after they inbounded the ball.
You know what, Kurt? This 3.2 might make a difference. Right? You never know.
They just don't want this one to quite end here just yet. But it does there as zeros on your scoreboard. And the Bishop Chatard Trojans battle back from a 4-point deficit at halftime to come away with their first win in their season opener. They knock off the Continentals 60-46. So Jarrett Lewis, like we talked about here, a good poise here by the Trojans to at least come back from what was a tough situation in that first half.
I'm sure there was a halftime locker room conversation that they kind of had something, little fire maybe lit under their butts just a little bit, but they came out in the second half really playing extremely well. They outscore Washington 38-20 in the second half, so that's pretty good. You'll win a lot of games doing that. But the defense was superb for Bishop Chatard too. Everyone, of course, loved talking about offense, but the defense, I think, was definitely the key tonight for the Trojans. They keep Washington under 60 for the first time this year, and they keep them under 50, for a matter of fact. They keep them at 46, so that's really good. When you're keeping your opponents under 50 points a game, that is a recipe for success. This Chatard team appears to be tough. It did not look like their first game of the season at all.
They just outpaced their season average in scoring last year in 57 points a game with their 60-point performance here this evening. Again, Bishop Chatard, they go on the road to take on Heritage Christian December 10th. Tip-off for that game at 8 o'clock. You can catch that game right here on IndianaSRN. Meanwhile, the Washington Continentals, they get set for Greater Indianapolis play. That'll be going off on December 10th as well. Their opening game, depending on who they will be facing, will be played at 6 p.m. Jarrett Lewis, it's been a pleasure working with you once again tonight, my friend.
It sure has. It's always a pleasure. And now we're into the busiest part of the year, it seems. Basketball games just bang, 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 just like that. So I'm sure I'll see you here soon enough. sooner rather than later. We'll do another one.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to do it. Well, for all of us here at IndianaSRN, for Ken Thomason on the camera, for Ben Wood, our on-site engineer, for Jarrett Lewis, I'm Kurt Darling saying so long till next time. Final score once again, Bishop Chatard knocks off Washington 60-46. You have been watching IHSAA boys basketball action on IndianaSRN. So long, everybody.